Yes, we need suckler cows with less labour in farms. We need cows that are very quiet. And cows that calve on their own. Too many cows still need assistance. And we need a good health status on these animals. I put a question mark in cull value because I think cull value is a red herring. A lot of people say, why do you keep big cows? Oh, they're worth more at the end of the day. The Beef Farmer of the Year, Sam, somebody or other whose name I've just forgotten, from Northern Ireland, he has said if he could lose 50 kilos off of all of his cows, they'd save £75 on each cow for each winter. If that cow was there for 8 years, 8 times 75, £600, you're actually better with smaller cows and you'll still produce the same weight of suckled calves at the end of the day. Suckler cows cost a lot more to actually keep. What we need to be breeding is herds of suckler cows at a short calving intervals. Short gestation length is easy calving. A long gestation length will invariably give you difficult calving, cesareans, cow and calf deaths, and subsequent fertility. If you want to get a calf per cow per year, you also want a short gestation length, because what you've got is post-calving, it takes a while for the uterus to return to its normal state, and it can often be 35 days post-calving, but more likely to be 50 days post-calving. So if you've got a 290-day gestation length, and another 50 days for the womb and the uterus to recover, you're up to 340 days. That doesn't leave you a lot between that and 365 days to get that cow per calf per year and get a cow calving back in sync with the previous year, does it? Bulling heifers. A lot of people are breeding their own replacements now, and in many herds it's a good idea to breed their own replacements, provided you're using the right breeds and crosses in your herd. But what should you do with breeding bulling heifers? You should certainly use an easy calving bull, and I wouldn't offer the bull to them for more than 6 weeks. If you want a fertile herd of cows, you have to start with fertile heifers. If they don't hold within 2 heat cycles, they're not fertile, so you shouldn't keep them. Or if you're using AI, 2 shots of AI. It's much more economic, and you can do your sums yourself, to calve them at 2 years of age. And the answer I usually get back, they're not big enough. If you have a cow at 600 kilos as a mature weight, what weight should your heifer be at bulling? Bulling weight, 423 kilos. Now, to get that to bulling weight, that heifer from birth has to do just under 0.9 of a kilo per day. That's achievable, isn't it? 0.9 of a kilo per day. Most of you would be very disappointed if your suckled calves weren't growing at 0.9 of a kilo per day. So we can easily get them at. What we get caught up on, of course, is we look at them and think, oh gosh, that looks small, that's only 400 kilos, that won't take the bull. It will take the bull if it's of a fertile breed. But where we go wrong is we don't let them grow on. We mix them in with the rest of the cows, we then open the shed and they bring them all in during the next winter in with the cows. The heifers get bullied out, they can't grow, so next time round they end up barren or slipping through the calving cycle. So if you've got a herd, if you've got heifers and a big enough group, try and manage them separately for the whole first year. They should grow from that 65% of their mature weight when they go to the bull the first time to about 85% of the mature weight when they go to bull the second time. If you look at statistics, a huge number of young cows are the ones that end up barren. And that's the most expensive ones, and we don't want to be losing these young animals. Replacements, if a calving at around 2 years of age, and this is the other reason why a nice, tight, compact calving is necessary. If you've got 65% of your cows calving in the first 3 weeks of the calving period, there'll be a lot of heifers born within that 65%, and that's the ones you should be identifying as your replacements. Calving at 2 years of age, the heifers would calve at the same time the cows. If you've got split calving, spring and autumn calving, most of you might have the spring ones, calve in the autumn, etc., at 2.5 years old. And then if you're doing that, you would mate the heifers to calve about 3 weeks before the main herd. Because invariably, heifers will take 20 days longer than cows to return to estrus after having their first calf. Cesareans. And how often do you hear of the bull always being blamed on the cesareans? Many farms, and why the bull shouldn't be blamed, and many farms and spring calving herds, they'll have no cesareans. But on the autumn calving herd, loads of cesareans, using the same rule. So that rules out the bull straight away. And a lot of it is down to cow nutrition. So we have to manage cow nutrition correctly. Every time you've got a cesarean, you have to hope you get a live calf, and you want her back into calf again. And often that doesn't happen, get her back into calf again. So cesareans are bad news. The only one that profits out of cesarean is a vet, and I don't hope there's not too many vets in here. And just rounding up, I just want to say a little bit about herd health and keeping out disease in the herd. Disease control is very important because it is linked to fertility, it's linked to the life expectancy in the herd. If you've got a disease outbreak, you've actually got lower resistance to other diseases, and you've got reduced profit. And the main disease that you know what I'll be speaking about is BVD. Bovine viral diarrhea is probably the most common viral disease of cattle in Europe, and is very common in the UK. It is reckoned that 1 to 2% of all animals traded through the livestock system, livestock market system in the UK is a persistently infected animal, a virus carrier for BVD. BVD is a disease of cattle, be it the suckler cow or the dairy cow. It can affect the whole breeding cycle. From bulling time, it'll cause reduced conception. You can't get the cows in calf, so that you end up with barons or a lot of barons. Or the cows keep on cycling because they're losing the embryos. Calf can be aborted at any stage, right the way up to when they would normally give birth. Calves can be born dead or born weak, more prone to other diseases. And then if you have got infected calves in the herd, the other calves' immune systems will then kick in, and they'll probably have a reaction to the disease, so there'll be outbreaks of pneumonia and scours. And when you speak to an awful lot of suckler men, they'll all admit to have pneumonia and scours. Just think, could that be BVD in your particular herd? So BVD is a disease we can't afford in the beef industry, and if we can get rid of BVD, I think we'll start improving the fertility of the beef industry. Now, I don't know how many of you know how BVD actually works, but I've just put up some coloured cows on here. White cows have never met the disease in their life. Green cows have met the disease, shaken it off and become immune, a bit like you getting chicken pox. You get it, you're under the weather for a week or so, you shake it off and then you're immune to it. Red cows are animals that are persistently infected, will never shake it off. And how the disease works is your white cow, your antibody negative cow, never met the disease in its life, will meet the virus, the BVD virus, and become transiently infected for about a fortnight. You probably won't see anything wrong with her. She'll shake it off and become immune. So she'll go green, which is fine. Your problem is the cow, the naive cow, never met virus in her life, meets the virus in the first 3 months of pregnancy. So she'll go red. Her immune system will kick in and fight it off. So she'll then turn to green. But the embryo calf, in the first 3 months of its life, hasn't got a developed immune system. So the virus will go into its system and it'll just think it is absolutely normal. So it can't fight it off. It'll be born persistently infected, and it'll be persistently infected for every day that it actually lives. So it's a little virus factory that will keep on spreading disease in your herd. Looking at bulls, you won't see that, but there's a white bull there, not a Charlie bull, just a white bull. There have been bulls traded in the marketplace that have been persistently infected. So the white bull meets infection, will go through the red stage and go to the antibody positive stage, immune stage. But the virus can live on in the testicles of that animal for up to 4 months. And he could pass on infection, but more than often he'll stop working. You'll see the bull as non-working. Beef breed societies now have said that all animals going to breed sales have to be actually screened for BVD virus and vaccinated before they are actually sold. Which ones do you know are safe? You can't really, can you? So there'll be a mixture of white cows, red cows, and green cows. You don't actually know which ones are actually safe to buy unless they've got a declaration with them. That is persistently infected calf. It died at 4 days of old age, lying in one of our veterinary labs in Scotland. If you cut that calf open, and I'm not going to show you these photos, we have good photos of it, that calf, if you look from its mouth all the way through to its anus, take out its digestive tract, it will be ulcerated and inflamed, bright red, all the way from one end to the other. There's a welfare problem. That calf will have died in agony. Between its cleats and that, it'll be inflamed as well. Now, most of you would recognise, let alone that calf being dead, but if that calf wasn't dead, a little hairy calf running around among your cows, you would think there was something wrong with it. And you'd get a vet to come and treat it or something like that. But if that little virus factory was alive and running around among your cows, which were going to the bull, that would create a new generation the following year. The worst case scenario we saw in a herd in Scotland of 80 cows, they had 23 of those born, and all 23 of them actually died. So if you've got a suckler herd that has got an outbreak of BVD, it can be very costly in the year that you've actually got it. That is also a virus factory. That was bought by a producer in Scotland through the market. It was in calf, cost about £1,800. He took it home, isolated it, tested it, and it was seen to be a virus factory. That would have infected his other naive cows. In summary, we know we have to improve the profitability and fertility of the Welsh suckler herd. So you really all want to be looking at your own figures and comparing them with breed averages, etc. And it is hoped that Mentra Business actually does this within groups like yourself, get you to keep some records. So, but you're actually comparing your figures anonymously, but it's giving you scope to start improving, identify the weaknesses, identify the strengths, so that you can begin to improve your farm business. So at the end of the day, we want to reduce the barren cows, and if you reduce your barren cows, you need fewer replacements. We want to improve the live weight gain of calves to get more and heavier calves for sale, and part of that will come from tightening up the calving spread of your suckler herd. So an awful lot of us as suckler herd owners identify problems and they just rumble on from year to year to year, and you think, oh, we need to do something about it, but we didn't get around to doing anything about it. So here's your chance to actually improve the suckler cow industry, because I know most of you would say and cost and show that suckler cows are not profitable without a single farm payment. But there are herds that are making profit with suckler cows without single farm payment. And the single farm payment, we know, will change over the next few years. How soon it will change, I don't know. But we'll have to turn the industry into more money. Thank you very much for listening.